Welcome to those who have joined. Nice to see you, Nancy. It's been a while.
Yes, thank you. It's nice to be here. Thanks. It's been a
Yeah,
while.
I hope I hope you're prepared. I was gonna call on you at one point tonight to share a few things. I was sent a
Yeah.
message that you wanted to share some things.
Yes, I'm prepared to do that. Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, good, because I was going to put you on the spot.
Okay, good. That's great. That's great. No, I was going to call you and I haven't obviously haven't done it, but I'll give you a separate call, sometime this week.
Great, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to that.
Catch up. Yeah.
Hey, Rachel, welcome. Hope everyone had a nice holiday weekend. I made myself an Easter basket today with the discount candy from the dollar store. I had to get a little Easter bunny and jelly beans. I didn't really have to, but I found myself doing it anyway.
The price was right.
That's right. That's right. All right. So it is 8 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and get started. The meeting is recorded for those who haven't been able to join us live or if they're a few minutes late. So we can go ahead and start off. It's not a deep agenda, and yet there's some good things to cover here tonight. Basically, three main points: who we are, an introduction to our new comms lead, and how that ties into some of the tools that are available for everyone to engage. And we'll have some discussion about that. And then just an opportunity for discussion. There's a lot going on in our state and in the world, and we just want to allow enough opportunity for engagement. So any questions that you might have related to what we share here tonight, or if there's just things on your mind as far as how to take action or um, what we can do to grow the party of the Forward Party in Pennsylvania and nationally. So these slides, I got to give credit to David. He had made these quite some time ago and shared them with me. And I'll leave this up here for people who want to read through it. But it really ties into a robust email conversation that some of the state leadership team engaged in this week. And I thought it was good just for us to revisit, who we are as a party. And there was a couple key points that, once again, I'll give credit to David for calling out, but Rachel, who's here with us tonight, made the one comment, and Rafe made the other that he really called attention to. And Give me 1 second. I have it on another slide on my computer, but I'm afraid it's going to mess up the sharing. So let me do it this way. The quote that Rachel is attributed to Rachel is just the difference between us and other election reform and pro-democracy groups is that we can run actual candidates. And that this is something that we've discussed over and over again over the last couple of years. And it actually ties back to something that Gus had said when he was joining us as a guest from the outside. But it is important to remember that our goal is to get champions in office, and we want to be able to help move reform forward and make changes that'll help to empower the voices of the people. And the other comment that Rafe D'Amico, some of you may or may not have met him. Hopefully there will be an opportunity to introduce him here shortly if he's able to join us. But we need to communicate that our goal isn't simply to split the difference between left and right, but rather to elevate ideas and approaches that genuinely work regardless of which side initially proposed them. And it's really talking about the fact that the political landscape is not linear. It's not a flat earth. Our solutions, we often talk about being in the center. And what we mean by that is where we can bring people together and work together. It doesn't always mean that the solution is always going to fall right in the middle or in the center. We are cautious about extremes, but at the same time, we want to challenge ourselves to explore and reach for solutions that really meet the need of the moment. And sometimes those will change, depend on technological advancements or other changes that are happening around us. So we have to be able to be responsive. So it's not always easy to just put it on a linear kind of diagram. And this ties into what's said here at the bottom of the screen, where we believe that improving candidate quality to bring better policy solutions on all political issues and move things forward. We're not trying to copycat what the other parties have done. Sometimes the way that things happen will look familiar or look similar to politics that people have seen through the years. And other times it's going to look a lot different. And we really want it to look and feel a lot different. And we want to make sure to elevate the voices of the people. And it really is, from the beginning, intended to be a bottom-up party. And everyone who chooses to engage with the Forward Party has an opportunity to let their voices be part of steering the direction and helping to guide where we're going next and what the most important issues are within your community and within the state, so that we can take action and help engage leaders who might consider running for office and being part of bringing those solutions, making things better. I'm going to stop sharing for just a minute, and partly because I want to see who all's here. When I'm sharing my screen, I don't get to see everyone's names or faces for those who have their cameras on. I know Rafe had intended to join us tonight, and I don't see his name. Rafe, are you here? He may have gotten tied up. So the next part of our meeting, I wanted to take a moment to introduce Rafe and actually allow him to introduce himself. So Rafe D'Amico, who served as the communications director for Eric Settle's campaign last year, has agreed to join the executive committee and is also going to serve as our communications lead. So Brian McMurray, who is not on the call tonight, this is probably one of the first calls he's missed. He's been very loyal and dedicated, even though he's currently residing in Alaska, and that's part of what has led to this change. Brian is going to continue to be engaged with the Pennsylvania party, and he's also building the Alaska party. And there may be a chance where he's back in residency in Pennsylvania, but as long as he's a registered voter out in Alaska and voting out there, we're going to welcome all the support that he can offer us, and we want to do the same to reciprocate and help support his efforts in Alaska. But it was time to start reassigning some tasks so that we're not overburdening him and that we can have people who are in Pennsylvania representing us in leadership. So Rafe answered that call. He's going to serve as the communications lead for the state of Pennsylvania and serve on the national committee representing Pennsylvania, because there is a group that national helps to coordinate with all of the communications leads across the states. So we are excited to have him, and I know he has been in contact with Brian about the things that have been in place and are going to continue for the time being, but looking for input from those who are on the communications team about potential changes, and certainly looking to grow that team and empower people to use their skills and voice to be part of sharing the message. So for anyone who has interest in understanding what that means, currently those meetings take place at 3 o'clock on Thursdays. That's a weekly meeting currently. I think one of the goals is actually to reduce that from being a weekly commitment and dividing up some of the tasks of communications teams so that people can work independently or paired up with someone else and sharing some of those tasks. But we're really excited about what Rafe is going to bring in helping to foster more letters to the editors and more reach out to communities and continuing to add more to the social media as it's been, the foundation has been laid there, but we can do even more. But these are just the beginnings of of what we can do. A lot of the places where we can go with it are going to come from the involvement of those of you on this call or those of you who watch the recording. So we welcome your ideas and look forward to you having a chance to work with and meet Rafe in the future. We do have a couple members of the communications team here with us now. I know Rachel's been very active. Robert has been at times. Ben always lends his support there, although he's got his hands filled with other things. Did anyone want to speak to anything else on the communications team or anything that's been shared with you from Rafe so far about upcoming changes or projects that are working on?
I can jump in and pinch hit if you want. So we've had this communications team led by Brian, who, we can't thank him enough for the many hats he wears and has kept everything really steadily going out and being managed and being assigned. I think he's going to stay active. We do meet on Thursdays at 3. When, as Rafe comes on, we can talk about how he wants to, reshape that. I will say, I think it's been one of the more consistent committees by having that weekly meeting, and not everyone comes every week. But we get things like the newsletter out every week, every month that you guys probably have received in your inbox, I hope, which updates folks on meetings and things like that. I was actually working on this in the chat to post all of the social media and communications outlets, which as soon as I stop talking, I'll go back to editing it because it was too many characters. But it'll be clickable and we'll have our Facebook page, Instagram, X, the Slack, which actually is a great place to pop in and out of and just join conversation. And then our events calendar, which we're going to, again, get together as a team and see, do we want to keep using this current calendar? Is there something newer or better we could be using? Some of these tools, and some of us OGs have been chugging along like this for a couple of years now. And so fresh people, fresh ideas, fresh parts of the state. If this is something that's sort of in your wheelhouse, join us or just share your ideas and pop in and out when you can. Ben is a loyal member of the communications team, and he helps us also to make sure we're sending out accurate information as the party secretary and the consummate lawyer and the candidates committee chair. Robert is a consistent member. Peter, who's not on the call tonight. I think that's pretty much who's been consistently on the team, and we're always looking for new folks. So if you have any questions about anything I said or what I'm about to put in the chat, just reach out to PennsylvaniaForwardParty.com and it'll get to the right folks. Brian and the rest of us can see those emails and then filter them to where they need to go.
Great. Thank you, Rachel. a lot of the things that Rachel mentioned there, that communications helps to take care of, are the tools that help to engage you outside of this meeting. So there is the Slack uh, channel that we have for interaction and conversation. That link would have been on that email that you used to get into this meeting tonight. There is also the link for joining the Slack, as well as our social media channels and following those and helping to share and interact with those pages. There's also a link for the calendar that helps to make sure that you're aware of what events are happening. So if you review the email that got you into this meeting tonight, there's a lot of tools that help follow along and be involved with the different things that PA Forward is involved with. All right. I want to invite Nancy to take the stage. She wanted to share some opportunities with everyone about how to get out in front of people and get engaged.
There you go.
Thank you, Nancy.
My pleasure. Thank you, Christian. Nice to see everybody. I mostly just wanted to mention that I don't know if you've seen this and other, other emails or whatever, but May 20th, as you probably are aware, is primary day in Pennsylvania, and independent voters are not allowed to vote. If you're registered as an independent, you're not allowed to vote in the Democratic and Republican primaries on May 20th. So we are part of, I should say, independent Pennsylvanians, but and like-minded organizations throughout Pennsylvania will be doing a picket at poll sites on May 20th. We're in Philadelphia, which I'm the most active with. We're going to go to the same poll place that we went in Philadelphia. One of the poll sites that we went to that's on Rittenhouse Square. It's on Spruce and it should be 18th and Spruce. There's a poll site there, where there's a very good turnout. And we want to, let people know that independents are not allowed to vote in these primaries, in spite of the fact that our money goes to that, our tax money goes to that, goes to fund those primaries. And, that's what we used to call taxation without representation. So we want to, we just want to let other voters know that we're out, that we're still active. There is legislation that is in the State House right now that is not getting anywhere because it's tied up in partisan politics. And it's increasingly to the benefit of both parties, especially in Pennsylvania, in terms of bringing more voters out, because a large chunk of it's 1.3 million independent voters in Pennsylvania that are not allowed to vote in these these elections. So if if you're interested in joining us in Philly, I think there should be other. I know Ballot PA has probably some people in Harrisburg, certainly a few, a handful of folks out in the western part of the state. So if anybody is, wants to go out and join us in picketing, that would be great. You could let me know. You could, I'll put my email address in the chat just in case you don't have it. That was the main thing I wanted to bring up. I don't know if there was other things, Christian.
No, that's great. Yeah, no, thank you, Nancy. So using primary day as an opportunity to get out and engage and be visible and make sure that people don't forget about Pennsylvania Forward, but also helping to advocate for the things that matter and make a difference and provide lane for a third party to be viable. So one of those things certainly is working alongside of Independence of Pennsylvania, as Nancy's talking about, and with Ballot PA and talking about the open primaries, and helping to picket along those lines. Another opportunity to engage on primary day would be with Fair Districts. That's another pro-democracy advocacy group within Pennsylvania, and they're doing some signups for people who want to volunteer and help to enshrine better districting within the state of Pennsylvania. Um, it's not in place currently. All right, there've been some great improvements with the last time of drawing maps, but that was a one-time deal, and it still wasn't perfect. To be able to take action and make it law that they follow the right procedures to make sure that there's not the gerrymandered kind of influence where the elected officials are choosing their voters as opposed to us choosing our elected officials. So there's an opportunity to volunteer there as well, and there's probably going to be some other ways too to be active and be involved on primary day. And speaking of primary day, the deadline for changing your voter registration passed this past weekend. For anyone who might consider running for office as an independent or as a forward candidate or any other third party, 30 days before the primary is when you can change your voter registration or confirm that your voter registration is not affiliated or with that third party. So that passed over this past weekend. So for anyone here that is registered, either as forward or third party or independent, you still have a chance to run this fall. Or if you know people who are interested in running for office, there's still an opportunity to consider running. And that could be for something as small and as judge of elections. That's an office that doesn't have a whole lot of time commitment, but certainly has an important role to play. We've certainly learned how important that role is over the past couple elections. But city council, school board, mayors, all of these elections are taking place across the Commonwealth this year. We've been talking about this at every meeting for quite some time. So just a reminder to everyone that check your registration if you're unsure, but anyone who is registered appropriately, that opportunity to run is still there. And I'll let Ben speak briefly as to how to be considered if you're looking to run as a forward candidate or for a forward endorsement.
If you are interested in running as a forwardist, you need to go to our national website, and there is a link I will put in the chat. If you click on join the movement, or sorry, go to the join the movement and go to run for office. There'll be a button you have to go to, and it will pull up a web page where you'll have an intake form you need to fill out. I'll put it in the chat here. That will start the process. Once you do that, we will send you a questionnaire you will also need to fill out at the state level, and then we'll start vetting you, and hopefully everything comes back good, and we'll start running you on our nomination papers. And this wasn't in the itinerary, but I did want to highlight that there are a couple of opportunities to join a discussion from open primaries this week on April 23rd at 3 p.m. They're actually celebrating something we hope to do. New Mexico passed open primaries in their state, and you can join them for their where they will talk about how they did it. And there is also an interesting state government committee hearing meeting for the PA House of Representatives, where they will be talking about the national popular vote and ranked choice voting at 9 a.m. this Thursday. And you can, at that time, if you go to their website page, there should be a link to the live stream, which I put in the chat. And I forgot to email Christian about that.
No, that's great. Thank you for sharing that. That's good information. We certainly want to follow those conversations and be involved with that education and understanding what the bills are and how to talk to our legislators that exist. We are advocating for change. Part of what Forward is here to do is to create that lane for a viable option outside of the two major parties. Along with that, we want to run candidates who can champion those ideas and sponsor and co-sponsor these bills and help them get across the finish line beyond just being conversation. So that's kind of the two sides of the coin of what we're trying to accomplish here. Certainly working alongside of all the other pro-advocacy or pro-democracy advocacy groups across the state is a key opportunity for us to build relationships, introduce more people to what we're building here at Forward. And also, it's a shortcut to a lot of the education that we need to understand all the different happenings across the state. A lot of different groups have their area of expertise and follow closely, such as with open primaries or with fair districts. And so there is a pro-democracy Pennsylvania collaborative that has been started. And initially it was just the leaders of 7 or 8 different organizations across the state. And we're starting to expand that to other interested people and really try to build this as an opportunity for cross-pollination and helping people find the right place to use their energy to activate across the state and make sure that together in Pennsylvania we can all work to make the changes that we need to see happen and that we're all hoping will happen. One of those partners, hold on one second, I got to share screen. All right. There's some of the partners that have been part of those meetings listed over here. People who have been invited or been part of those conversations. And one of them is March on Harrisburg. And they're going to be right here in my hometown. We worked with them to do a Rank the Coffee event back in January that had more than 35 people show up. We are doing a Rank the Beers and Pizza event at Voodoo this upcoming Saturday. And it's an opportunity for people to get together, understand a little more about ranked choice voting, but also talk about other pro-democracy and political issues and meet people from different organizations. So we are excited to be able to help promote that and encourage people to meet one another and get involved with those types of education and conversations. And I would encourage you within your own community to look for these opportunities. We want to help you host an event or host a conversation. It doesn't have to be beer and pizza. Like I said, it could be coffee. It doesn't even have to be a ranked choice voting. It could be a discussion on something else that might be important in your community. One of the neighboring communities to me, Plum, Pennsylvania, is evaluating whether or not to consolidate their fire departments. You know, Pennsylvania is one of the few states that still has volunteer fire departments serving many of their communities. And this is something that Spotlight picked up on recently and actually wrote an article on. Sometimes consolidation might be the right answer and a good use of resources, and other times it's not. It's really going to depend on a lot of different things. This is a lane where we could engage the communities and help to have a conversation that leads to solutions that isn't driven by any specific partisan take, but really about representing the community and making sure we understand the issue thoroughly and help to guide a solution that makes sense for the community. Rachel.
Yeah, I was just going to take the opportunity real quick while we're talking about these partner organizations to sort of draw that connection of like how, you know, we do want to be cross-pollinating and networking with because we have common goals in many, if not almost all of the ways, but it doesn't have to be all of the ways, but certainly pro-democracy and election reform. So, you know, we have a lot of people working towards this goal, and we want a lot of those people. You know, when we had we had a candidate for statewide office and we just didn't have enough foot soldiers. We didn't have enough people in enough counties really to knock on doors and get the word out. And when you think, you know, it's a slow time for elections right now, it's just almost not even primary day. We don't have candidates running at this moment. But this is when we should be organizing and meeting folks. And those are going to be hopefully our foot soldiers. And some of those people at those meetings might even be our candidates. And so, you know, besides the folks who join these calls, these are our people and we want to show that we are their people. And so it is important though that they're, you know, they may not be running candidates. The mission is often the same, and we could be that vehicle by which we help to meet these same goals. I will also say they provide a ton of education and legislative updates, and so we can speak more intelligently about the things that are happening, that are about the things that are possible. You know, Independent Pennsylvanians and Nancy and Norma's connections over there really did help us in Philadelphia getting signatures for Eric Settle. Like when we say partner organizations, like we really mean partner up and educate each other and help each other with, you know, amplifying their message and publicizing their events because we hope to be kind of in the same tent. That's all.
Great. No, thank you. That's well stated, and absolutely, I agree with you wholeheartedly that this is just a very important aspect of how we can grow and how we can serve their needs in delivering those champions in office as we continue to grow and get elected officials into office, but also helping to just promote the ideals and values that are going to better serve Pennsylvania. All right. All right, so we're just going to pause there for questions from those of you who are in attendance, whether it's about anything that was discussed or shared, or if you just brought questions with you from events in your community or across the state or in the country.
I have a question. Where is it? I think that petitioning starts right after the primary, if I'm not mistaken, and goes for a couple, 3 months. Is that correct? And also, do you have a sense of how many people? I know that people are being asked to run for judge of elections and those local. I think every county probably has several of those open. But do you have a sense of who's running, how many people are running, who's running?
So,
Okay, Ben.
so technically, technically a person can run as an independent and start collecting their signatures already today. They were allowed to do so in mid-March.
Okay.
But for our purposes, if you want to run as a Fortis, you do have to be approved by both the state and national party to run as a Fortis. So there is an internal process you also have to go through to do that. But if you were just going to run as an independent, you could start collecting signatures today. As for judge of elections, actually every precinct in the Commonwealth has a judge of election.
Yeah.
And like there probably are a couple thousand in Philadelphia County. I know there's a couple thousand in Allegheny County out here in the west. So there are thousands upon thousands of opportunities, and many of those judge of election offices don't even get filled, and the county then has to appoint people to fill those positions because nobody wanted to run for them. So if you run, you're probably going to win. And the signature requirement is not high in many precincts. It might only be a dozen or two signatures you need to collect, and you'll be on the ballot.
As far as people who are running, we've had well over a dozen people submit interest in running, probably closer to 20, but some of those have been partisan candidates that were looking for endorsements. And at this point, we've held back on endorsing anyone during the primaries. That's still something we're having internal discussions about, even the appropriateness of that. So I'm not saying that we would never do that, but it's something that we're still having conversations about, and really would probably open up to additional input from members in the state on whether or not we should be endorsing during a primary. I think it would take extreme circumstances for us to be excited about getting involved in that. But a lot of the people have even been looking forward to next year. So a lot of the inquiries that we've gotten to run as a forwardist or as an independent with our support and endorsement are looking at state house races for next year. So there's only a handful or so that are evaluating races that are going to be current for this year, and nobody that's gotten fully through the process at this point. So hopefully we'll have some announcements in the near future. Now, as much as we'd like to have those sooner rather than later, we have from now until August 1st
Okay, right.
to submit signatures and declare that candidacy.
It's all coming back to me now.
There is time, and and the signature requirements for many of these offices are very light. But we still would rather help people get through this and help create a group of peer support among those who decide to run, to just try to really encourage and help people through the process as much as possible and make it simple. So the sooner the better is how we view that.
And I would also suggest that if you are looking to run next year as a Fortis, please get involved and stay involved with the Ford Party so you don't fall through the cracks, because I do have a suspicion that some of the people who are looking to run next year are not as involved as they probably should be. Not all of them. Some of them are very involved, but some of them who have uh, started, who filled out the intake form, have not been as active as they probably should be.
As we're waiting for any other questions, one thing that I want to do a shout out for is the Young Forwardist, led in part by our very own Gabe McGuire. For those who might follow the National Forward accounts, you may have seen a contest announced for meme creation that's going to have a guest judge of Mark Cuban, along with Gabe and then MJ from North Carolina, another young forward leader that's been around for a number of years that I've had a chance to be on a number of calls with. Great leader, and excited to see what they're doing there. So I encourage you guys to check that out, or I'm not sure what feedback there might be and how those memes are going to be shared, but hopefully everyone might follow along. David.
I just wanted to boost a question from the chat from earlier in the meeting. Someone had asked about how to get connected with the communications meetings. So I thought it might be worth taking a moment to lay out the calendar and how people can find out when those meetings are happening.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for that. Rachel, did you want to take that?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was also reading in the chat. So did you
Oh, okay.
say to talk about the calendar of events? So meeting links are there, and I believe the communications team might be under though the leadership calls. I think it might be kind of coded that way because if you click on the link, I don't know if Christian, you're able to click on the calendar and share it, the kind of what it looks like. You can select your region, so Southeast, Southwest, Northeast, and your regional meeting will come up, and then things that are open like the statewide call tonight that are open to all the whole state, all regions. There are some committees calls. I think the candidates committee might be rainbow colored for every, Ben, you could say more, but I think the communications call, you want to reach out to Pennsylvania@forwardparty.com or to myself or Brian and express your interest, and we can send you the link for like a one-time drop-in or something. I don't want to speak for Brian or Rave, who's the new leader, but we're, always welcome. We do discuss, some leadership type things, but I think nothing really that's top secret, confidential or anything. But those meetings, I don't believe are published on the calendar until I just would have to check. Like I said, if you click on it, Christian, it would show on yours because you are leadership.
On the Slack, can they connect with the communications team through Slack and then get and then express an invitation? Or
these are great questions. Bob, I did send you the link. I sent it to your Pittsburgh email already. So just a quick email is the best way. The Slack, if you put a note in the Slack, we can post it there. There is so Jack, who set up the Slack, isn't on the call, and there's some questions about the subgroups in the Slack. It's hard for us on leadership to say what you see as a new person because our sort of our membership is coded as part of leadership, so it's hard to say what others do see, but there are subgroups like the communications team. I'm not sure if you can self-invite or you need to be invited, but if you again contact one of us and express your interest, we'll be happy to, we definitely need more committee members in all of these committees, such as like fundraising. The general is open to everyone. It's public, I guess you would say. When it comes time to elect regional chairs and officers for the party, there's an elections subgroup. There's a Southeast regional one. There isn't, I don't think, other regions to that point yet that have, developed their own sub-channel. We do have a good little cohort here in the Southeast. So there's different subgroups, but they may all be open. Unfortunately, I didn't set up the Slack, so I'm just not sure. It does say the executive committee one is locked, so perhaps the others are all not locked, if anyone can say, but we're happy to connect you to those meetings. The communications call, for now, that's what it's been a couple of years, and again, we're going through a reorg, is Thursdays at 3. And the candidates committee is the last Wednesday of the month at 8. Is that right, Ben?
Yes.
So those are the steadies and the statewide third Monday of the month.
And I did see Joe Friend shared in the chat the invitation for the Veterans and Family and Veteran Families Committees. For anyone who on this call is interested in engaging, the National does have a few affinity groups, and the Veterans and Veteran Families is one of those that specifically wants to focus on veteran affairs, and certainly there's lots of conversation to be had around some of the things that are happening at a national level and how that impacts some different things. So certainly encourage anyone that wants to attend that. There's also a women's affinity group, which Rachel is part of.
We actually do have a meeting tomorrow night at 8:30 Eastern. It's National Committee for helping to increase gender parity and parity in general and within the party, in politics and leadership, and support women candidates across the country. And so if you're interested in that, we do have a monthly National Women's Committee call. Sometimes there are tomorrow night, Lindsay Drath, who's the CEO or CFO, I think CEO of Forward, is joining us and speaking. We've had candidate forums from across the country. We've had seated elected women speak and talking about. We've also had the Good Party, She Should Run, and other groups who help with those campaign items that are maybe not as accessible to independent and third-party candidates. Some of stuff we've spoken about on this call as well. So there is one tomorrow night. If you go to the link committees and click on women's, you will see it listed there, and you can get the link for tomorrow night. But there is a meeting every month. If you have questions, you can reach out.
And from there, you'll also see the other committees that exist. It's a great opportunity to connect with Forwardists from other states and gain some additional vantage points. All right. Yes, Ben.
I wanted to bring up something I saw in the chat also. We are currently looking for people to help organize in the what we call the Highlands part of the state, which includes Center County. If you know anybody who would be willing to help us organize in that part of the state, please reach out to us and probably at Pennsylvania Forward Party's email, or Christian or myself, and we can start the process of trying to give you the resources you or that person needs to start organizing that state or that region. And we also need somebody in the Northwest also. So if you know anybody.
Yeah, don't be shy. The water's nice. You know, a lot of us have been chugging away, and every time a new leader joins, we get new energy and new ideas. And, you know, I think, Christian, you've said it, many hands make light of the work. So, you know, don't be shy that it's going to be too much, or I can't commit to necessarily taking on a title. Or if you are even slightly interested in helping to organize, reach out. We can walk you through it, get you the tools you need. Some leadership is better in the area than no leadership at all. And it will grow. It'll be contagious if they just have a point of contact or maybe a meetup or something. You never know what will grow out of it.
Great.
You know, just by the way, I was going to give this over to Robert, but I have the flag. It's expensive equipment. It's a really nice, big, tall flag, and it has a case and a stand and everything. And I'm keeping it in good.
What did I do wrong, Nancy?
Well,
I think I came to a lot of your meetups, but okay.
I know. No, I was going to give it to you because I don't know who else might need it. You know, whoever else is doing some kind of outreach. You know,
over there.
What?
as
Stand
it.
there. You can't. You'll be
As
able
a
to-
Southeast Regional Chair, may I hang on to it before we find a permanent home for such a.
No, I think one of us should have it. One of us should
They're
have it.
watching
One of
you.
us in the field. You know. So you were the one the main person that came to mind.
It's just a
Oh.
chat group.
So
for
the
Forward
good
Party.
news for everyone to understand what it is that Nancy's referring to, we have 3 setups at least that have a table covering for a 6-foot table along with a stand-up flag that says Forward on it. So when there's opportunities to be present in community events, fairs, whether it's for signature collection or if it's just for information sharing, you know, we'd love to have a presence and be able to tell people what Pennsylvania Forward's all about. If there's an event near you that you think would be good to have a presence at, please let us know, or find out what it would take to be part of it. And we do have these setups available to help just add to the presence and give a good opportunity for engagement.
Don't listen. I don't know how much they can see, so watch what you will.
All right, are there any additional questions?
See you when you
Really
can.
appreciate everyone joining us tonight. And
Just wear your clothes at least.
we're going to keep plugging along here in Pennsylvania. Expect that we will have some candidates to announce at our next meeting. Oh, David.
Right there. You can see.
Can I share a quick anecdote about something I did in my region?
Absolutely, please.
So hopefully this will be an example to follow of something very, very modest you can do if you're like me and you don't have a lot of time or energy.
Picture over there with
I have joined some local Facebook groups devoted to politics in the area, and that makes me more aware of things that are going on. And when there is something that fits my schedule and it's nearby, I try to check it out. One example of that is that there was a local candidate forum for a couple of judge candidates and a couple of sheriff candidates. It fit with my schedule, so I decided to just show up and check it out. I have a Forward Party shirt that says "Ask me about the Forward Party," so I just showed up there in the shirt, hoping for the chance to meet with some people. And as luck would have it, I ended up having the chance to chat with one of the candidates. And I told him, without promising anything, that he sounded a little bit like he had a forwardist mindset. So I encouraged him to check out the party. I gave him one of the cards I still had from when Eric Settle was running, encouraged him to look up an Eric Settle interview for a quick glimpse of what we're all about. And I explained to him that the Forward Party does sometimes endorse Republican or Democrat candidates as Forward Republicans or Forward Democrats. Now, I don't know if anything will come of that. I have no idea. Like Christian was saying, maybe there's there are some examples where people have pinged us for that kind of endorsement and it doesn't lead anywhere or it's self-serving. But my point in sharing this story is that I am looking for things that are already happening and just showing up to them and trying to have conversations with people that make them aware of what Forward is and try to think of something that is relevant to them and appealing to them. In the case of someone who's running for a local office, it's very appealing to think that there might be some entity out there that is willing to endorse them. So I'm hoping that since we are still building, we are such a small party at this time, it's difficult for us to find our own candidates to run as Forward Party candidates. I'm also on the lookout for other local candidates who are already running as Republicans or Democrats, so I can maybe entice to put one foot into our boat as well.
Thank you, David. What a great example. I really appreciate you sharing that. Robert.
Hey, everyone. I'm not sure how often we promote other states meetings, but Andrew Yang is going to be on Virginia's meeting on Wednesday, so I kind of thought maybe we'd be interested in joining that just to kind of have a look and see what they're sharing, what they're it's like a fireside chat kind of thing. So maybe one time, the next time maybe Andrew Yang or someone from National could join maybe our call, and then maybe they'll jump on our call as well. So just like to see if we could point that out. So
No, that's great. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. And we are always here with for additional questions. If you want to send an email, I would love to get you connected through the Slack and help to get you engaged with telling other people what Pennsylvania Forward is all about. And the best way to really do it, as David spoke to, is getting involved in your community, being visible, attending things that already exist, connecting with our other pro-democracy partners across the state, and helping to push forward the ideals that are going to make a difference and help really put Pennsylvania moving forward. Rachel.
Yeah, just another real easy thing to do is if you join these social media groups, channels, whatever it is that you happen to be on Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is, and you see something that we post that you like, sharing it, boosting it to your network can help draw people in and spread the message, because there is a circle where we reach a point or a flow where we're gaining new people and then we're sort of talking to the same folks. And then if you can spread that message to your circles, it certainly can help us to grow the party as well.
Ben.
Wherever this video is uploaded on YouTube, please like, comment, and subscribe.
All right. Great. It's a good reminder. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Have a great night.